All right, let's jump right into this explainer and talk about a massive shift that is happening in global trade right now. When we hear about the European Union's carbon border adjustment mechanism, which, if you aren't familiar, is basically the EU's new carbon tariff on imported goods, the conversation almost always zooms straight in on the global industrial giants. You know, the massive steel producers, the huge cement companies, the international conglomerates. And hey, that makes sense. They operate incredibly complex supply chains. But today, we are going to look at an equally important story that's unfolding completely under the radar. We're going to explore how CBAM isn't just some annoying regulatory hurdle, but actually a massive hidden opportunity for small and medium-sized enterprises to seriously strengthen their competitive position in international markets.
For literally decades, the formula for international business was pretty set in stone. You competed on price, the quality of your goods, your delivery speed, and your customer service. That was the old way, the standard playbook. But today, well, environmental transparency has completely forced its way into that equation. It's added a brand new metric right alongside price and speed. European buyers, investors, and customers are increasingly demanding real visibility into the carbon footprint of the products they buy. Carbon data isn't just some boring compliance checklist anymore. It is rapidly becoming a highly valuable business asset. If you can provide accurate environmental information, you instantly, and I mean instantly, strengthen your position in global supply chains.
You know, it's so easy to assume CBAM only affects those industrial giants with absolutely bottomless compliance budgets. You might be sitting there thinking sustainability regulations only create barriers that favor the big players. But assuming sustainability is only a big guy problem, well, that is a fantastic way to accidentally lock yourself completely out of the European market. We are going to flip that assumption entirely on its head today, because believing that only the top players need to worry about this is actually a massive business risk.
Picture this. It's Thursday afternoon, and your biggest European buyer suddenly emails you asking for a full emissions breakdown by Friday. If you wait for that email to arrive before you do anything, you're going to be scrambling. Even if your SME isn't directly responsible for filing CBAM reports, you have to remember that you are part of a larger ecosystem. Your customers' procurement teams are beginning to bake sustainability criteria right into their purchasing decisions. Your buyers, the larger organizations who do have to report, are absolutely going to come to you requesting your emissions data. If you prepare early, you can reply to that email with total confidence, and that creates an immediate opportunity to differentiate yourself from competitors who are caught totally off guard.
Section 1. The Agility Advantage. Size as a superpower. Let's look at how your smaller size is actually your greatest hidden strength in this whole new regulatory landscape. We almost always think of size as leverage, right? But in the context of rapid regulatory changes, agility is way more valuable. Honestly, trying to pivot a massive multinational corporation's IT system is like trying to turn a cargo ship. It takes lengthy approvals, incredibly complex system overhauls, and cross-continental coordination. But in SME, you operate like a speedboat. You have super fast implementation, you can adopt new technologies practically overnight, you have direct access to your leadership team without jumping through endless corporate hoops, and that allows you to pivot rapidly to changing market expectations. So what we're really talking about here is sustainability agility. It's all about leveraging your natural speed to rapidly adapt to these evolving environmental requirements. This agility allows you to act early, positioning your business as a highly transparent, low-risk partner. Think about it from the other side. When procurement teams in Europe are looking for suppliers, they want preparedness and professionalism. By moving fast and establishing this credibility, you become the supplier they actively want to work with, simply because you make their compliance lives so much easier. Section 2. Demystifying the data. You already have what it takes. Look, I totally get it. The second you hear supply chain emissions data, it sounds incredibly daunting. It sounds like you need to go out and hire an entire sustainability department just to figure out where to start. But here's the secret. You don't need an army of consultants to build a solid data foundation. You might think you need to invent brand new data streams, but the foundation is literally already sitting right there in your file cabinets. Your utility bills, those are your energy consumption records. Your daily production metrics, you already track those for your own internal efficiency. Your logistics invoices are your transportation data. The very first step isn't generating magical new numbers. It's simply collecting and organizing the standard business records you already maintain to create a baseline for your future reporting. Section 3. The Digital Equalizer. AI and Cloud Platforms. Now, here's where things get really exciting. Let's explore how modern technology has completely leveled the playing field for smaller exporters. Historically, tracking all the sustainability data manually was an absolute nightmare. It was slow, wildly expensive, and super prone to human error. Environmental reporting solutions used to be incredibly difficult for smaller organizations to adopt. But cloud platforms and AI have completely flipped the script. Today, you have access to modern alternatives that are affordable, fully automated, and highly accurate, with basically zero barrier to entry. This democratization of technology means that SMEs can now access the exact same analytical firepower that used to be reserved exclusively for massive global enterprises. So how does this actually look in your day-to-day operations? Well, by bringing in AI tools, you can completely automate data collection so your team isn't spending hours buried in Excel spreadsheets. For example, instead of manually auditing a huge stack of utility bills at the end of the month, an AI tool can instantly flag a sudden spike in energy use on a manufacturing line in real time. It can forecast your emissions trends so you can actually plan ahead, and it seamlessly streamlines all your reporting activities. You dramatically reduce your administrative headaches while gaining perfect, crystal-clear visibility into your operations.
Section 4. Beyond compliance, efficiency and profitability.
Let's shift gears for a second and talk about the real payoff here. Because, and I want to be super clear about this, sustainability is not just some added cost of doing business. If you are only looking at this as a compliance exercise, you are leaving serious money on the table. It's actually this fascinating chain reaction. Tracking your energy consumption for carbon reporting accidentally forces you to find operational inefficiencies you didn't even know existed. Fixing those inefficiencies optimizes your resource utilization, which reduces waste. And reducing waste? Well, that puts money right back into your bottom line. You are generating real financial savings right alongside your environmental improvements. It is a dual victory that strengthens your overall competitiveness across the board. Which leads us to one of the most powerful realities in today's market. Transparency is a differentiator that heavily outweighs size. Trust matters so deeply in global trade. When you proactively share reliable, accurate sustainability data, you immediately position your business as a low-risk partner. You build real trust, you solidify customer retention, and very often, procurement teams will gladly choose the smaller, highly transparent, easy-to-work-with SME over a massive, bureaucratic rival who is dragging their feet on handing over their carbon data. There's a quote that perfectly sums this all up. The future belongs not only to the largest organizations, but also to the most adaptable. In a highly carbon-conscious global market, your success relies entirely on three key things: information, trust, and the unique agility that really only an SME possesses. The organizations that truly understand their environmental performance gain much stronger visibility into their own operations and their risks, and that is what supports long-term business resilience. So as environmental transparency becomes absolutely non-negotiable over the next decade, the goal for your business shouldn't just be basic compliance. The goal is readiness. As global trade expectations continue to evolve, I want to leave you with a question. Will you sit back and wait for the regulations to force your hand? Or will you use your natural agility, modern AI tools, and radical transparency to turn this shift into your single greatest competitive advantage? The future of global trade is heavily rewarding the agile. Let's make sure you're one of them.